ESPN Plus number 12. We got Moicano taking on the Korean Zombie. I want to slide right into the main event and give my prediction here for this fight. Right off the bat, we see that the Korean Zombie has a little bit more experience. It's going to be the older fighter by 2 years. It's going to be the smaller, shorter fighter, being 5'7" compared to Moicano's 5'11". We know that Chan Sung Jung, most of his wins on his record are due to submission victories, so pretty much his strong point is his submissions. He's coming off a loss to Yair where he got TKO'd in the fifth round, but before that, picked up wins over Dennis Bermudez, Dustin Poirier, and Mark Hominick. Most of his losses are to TKO. He's been TKO'd 3 times. Moicano on the other side, we know he's coming off a loss to Aldo, so they both have something in common. They both hold L's to Aldo. Um, but before that, he picked up W's over guys like Cub Swanson, Calvin Cater, and Jeremy Stevens. So, in my opinion, he picked up bigger W's than the Korean Zombies. Face tougher competition, and I think he's gonna play a role here in this fight. He's lost to Brian Ortega due to a submission. I mean, Chance on Jong, strong points is his submissions. So if Moicano gets a little, relentless out there, a little reckless, and he could get caught in submission, I think that's pretty much, Korean Zombie's only way to getting this job done here is winning by submission. Um, I really like Moicano here to pick up the W. I just think, being the bigger fighter going here is going to play a role as well. He's 5'11". I think he's going to be able to bully Chan Sung Jung around a little bit. His striking also has improved. I think it's a little bit more technical. He defends a lot better, I think, than Chan Sung Jung. And Seymour Moicano striking has improved. When he fought Cub, he dropped him, and then he went in and got that submission victory. So he also has a lot of more tools in his box. I mean, solid striking and good submission. My pick got to be Moicano to pick up the W here. As we move on to the co-main event, we got a rematch between Rob Font and John Lineker here. John Lineker is coming off a loss to Corey Sandhagen. He does have more experience going into this fight. He is going to be the younger fighter. He is the shorter fighter. And Rob Font's 5'8". So John Lineker's 5'3". Lineker's a real short, bantamweight. And Rob Font's gonna have a reach advantage going into this fight. Rob Font lost to John Lineker in the past, but that's when he didn't have that much experience in the UFC. Now I think that he's more comfortable here. He feels more at home. He's picked up the biggest win of his career against a guy like Sergio Pettis. So that just shows, that his confidence is going to be very high. And I think Rob Font should be able to pick up the W here. Rob Font, most of his wins are by TKO. He has 7 TKOs. He's never been TKO'd in his career. Most of his losses are due to decision. John Lineker here, it's pretty much the same. Most of his wins are by TKO. And he picks up 12 decisions as well on his record. He's been subbed 3 times, and most of his losses are due to decision. I really think that Rob Font reach advantage is going to play a big role here. As long as he doesn't make it a brawl, I don't see how Rob Font's going to lose this fight. As long as he uses his footwork, stay out on the outside, use that reach of his, use the jab, and pretty much pick John Lineker apart. Stay away from the big bombs. He should be victorious. So my pick is going to be Rob Font. But John Lineker always has ways to win the fight, breaking his opponent with his constant pressure and then finally landing that big shot. But I just don't think Rob Font is going to be there for him to land that big shot. So we move on to this fight card. We slide into the welterweight division. We got Bam Bam taking on Rude Boy right here. Randy Brown versus Brian Barberina. Right off the bat, I like Brian Barberina to pick up the W. These men are both coming off of losses. Brian Barberina lost was to Vicente Luque. So a very talented prospect in the welterweight division, and he put up a hell of a fight. He had Vicente Luque pretty much in a lot of trouble going into that second round, but Luque, survived, stuck it out, and got the TKO in round three to give Bam Bam his first TKO in MMA. But before that, he picked up big wins over Jake Ellenberger and also Orly Alves. He lost to Leon Edwards and Kobe Covington. Most of his losses are due to decision, but for him to go, three long rounds, pretty much high rank welterweights, to just show a level that Brian Barberina is. Randy Brown, he's gonna be the bigger fighter with a nice reach advantage going into this fight. 6'3", so he's a huge guy for the weight class, and he has ways to win in this fight. Stay out there on the outside, stuff the takedown, uses his reach. Pick Brian apart, but I don't really see it happening. Rude Boy, most of his wins are by TKO, so he's a solid striker. Um, I think Brian Barberina wrestling is also slept on. I think he could get this fight down to the ground and put Rude Boy in a lot of bad spots. Um, but yeah, man, Randy has ways to win. Really just outstrike him, try to look for the TKO, or possibly just outpoint him and just outstrike him. He's a little bit more technical on the feet, Randy Brown. But I like Brian Barberina here to pick up the W. So that's going to be my pick, Bam Bam, to get the dub. As we move on to the fight card, we slide into this women's flyweight division. Andre, Andrea Lee taking on Montana De La Rosa here. Very solid fight, tough fight to break down. But I like KGB here to pick up the W. I think her striking's a lot better than Montana. Montana, most of her wins on her record are by submission. She has 8 submission victories. So I know she's going to be the one looking to get the fight down on the ground. But, KGB has a solid submission game as well, because most of her wins are four, submission victories and four decision victories. So they're tied at four apiece. But I think her striking is the thing that's going to stand out in this fight. If Montana's not able to get this down on the ground, I don't see her, out strikingly here. Just think KGB is a far more better striker, and that should be the key to victory here. Stuffing the takedown, defending the submissions, working the striking, and I think Lee should be successful. So my pick will be Lee getting the job done. As we move on to the UFC middleweight division, we got Kevin Holland taking on Alessio here from Italy. Very solid fight, but I like the man with more experience, the man with the record of 15-4. I got to go with the Trailblazer Kevin Holland picking up the W. One thing that stands out to me as well is he's 6'3" with a reach, 81 reach compared to Alessio 74 and 6 foot. So Kevin Holland's going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to have that reach advantage, and Kevin Holland's coming off a big win over GM3, and that was a very tough fight. And our boy Kevin Holland, most of his wins are TKOs and submission, tied at six apiece. He beat John Phillips, and he went to a decision with Thiago Santos, a man who's fighting John Jones for the belt. So that just shows the level he's at. To go the distance with a tough guy like Thiago Santos just means that the man could take damage, and it's going to be a very tough time to try to knock this dude out. Most of his losses are due to decision. He's never been TKO'd. But his opponent from Italy, Alessio here, he's 12-2. He doesn't have that much experience. Um, but, most of his wins are by TKO. He beat Julian Marquez. So that's a big win to have on his record. He holds 4 submission victories as well. So he has a little solid submission game. But we haven't seen him sub someone since 2014, so that was a while back. And I don't think he's going to be able to sub a guy like Kevin Holland. But yeah, his biggest win is Julian Marquez. So he's more known as a striker, and I just think that Kevin Holland experience is gonna play a big factor here, and that reach advantage, man, and that size difference. We got to go with Kevin Holland, the younger fighter with more experience, getting the job done. As we move on, we slide into this women's strawweight division. We got the Spider Monkey, Ashley Yoder, taking on Sori Kondo, straight out of Japan. Very tough fight to call. Ashley Yoder's coming off of a win. She has a record of 6-4, so she doesn't have the best record. The woman from Japan here, Kondo, 6-2, off of a 2-5 losing streak. So she's gonna be hungry here. Pick up the W. She has a little solid background in kickboxing. She's very aggressive with her striking here, and that could be a little nightmare matchup for a woman like Ashley Yoder. A Spider Monkey. Her grappling isn't the best. Um, she has improved, and that was shown against her big win over Amanda Bobby Cooper. Most of her wins are by submission victory. Um, Her opponent here from Japan, Suri, you know, um, most of her wins are by decision. She has 5 decision wins and 1 TKO. Um, Tough fight here to call, but I think the woman from Japan is gonna be hungry to get a W here, man. She's on a 2-5 losing streak. I think she's gonna be hungry. Possibly her contract could be on the line. UFC don't really like fighters on a 3-5 losing streak, so I know she's gonna be hungry. I think her aggressive style put Ashley against the cage and put her in a lot of trouble. I think her striking's a lot better. Yoder will have the grappling advantage, I think, going into this fight. If she's able to get this fight down on the mat, possibly look for a submission, she could get it done. But I like Suri striking. I think she gets the job done. As we move on to the fight card, we got the one and only, the Angel of Death, Kevin Aguilar, taking on Dynamite Dan Ige. Very solid fight here to call for featherweights. Kevin Aguilar is on a big win streak, and he's 17-1, so he only has one loss on his record, and he's gonna be the older fighter by 3 years. He holds a slight reach advantage going into this fight. Um, with Kevin Aguilar, he, to me, in my opinion, his last fight where he won that decision against Enrique Barzola, he didn't really look, too, like he was going to be a top contender. I mean, to be honest, he won a decision, but he didn't do anything to stand out to me. He beat Rick Glenn, so, he beat solid competitors in the UFC. But I was really more impressed with Dan Ige last performance against Dan Henry, where the man had Danny Henry, where he had a lot of hype around him, and he rocked him in the first round, and then he got that rear naked choke. Picked up wins over Jordan Griffin and Mike Santiago. He lost to Julio Arce. So I really like Dynamite picking up the W here. I gotta go with my boy Danny Ige here to pick up the W. Yeah, solid striking. Um, Most of Ige wins are by submission. He has 5 submissions, but he has improved in striking. Kevin Aguilar, most of his wins are by TKO, or he gets a decision victory. I really like Danny Ige, though. I think, he has a lot of, potential to be something special here in this weight class. And Kevin Aguilar is going to be that tough test to see if he really belongs in the top, tier guys. And this is going to be a solid fight, but I got to lean towards more Danny Ige to pick up the W. As we move on to this fight card, we got Violent Bobby Ross taking on Matt Handsome. The man's been gone for a while. Solid fight. Veteran versus a prospect, up and coming. You see this guy right here, Matt Handsome. He has more experience going in this fight, but we haven't seen the dude fight in how many years, man. You talking about a guy who's possibly on the longest layoff in the UFC history, man. I mean, Matt hasn't fought since 2014, man. And he did pick up a W, though. But I really like Violent Bobby Ross just for the fact that he's more active. The guy that I'm seeing competing on a regular now. Matt, man, he's 35 years old now, man. And Violent Bob Ross is going to have the height advantage. He's going to have the reach advantage going to this fight. I really think Violent Bob Ross is going to TKO him or sub him. I mean, and I don't see it really taking long for him to do that. Matt Wyman, the guy don't have that much left in his tank. I don't think, man. He's a big underdog for a reason, and I think he's gonna stay that way, man. I really got to go with my boy Violent Bob Ross. Picking up the W is not really too much to talk about here, man. Violent Bob Ross gets it fucking done. As we move on to the fight card, we slide into this goddamn heavyweight division. We got Alan Crowder taking on the boy Rosenstrike. Big fight, big boys. My favorite division in all of MMA because somebody's going to get knocked out and it's going to be quick. I really like Rosenstrike picking up the W here. Picked up a big win over Junior Albini on his debut. So that just shows that this guy is ready for the spotlight. He's ready for the cameras to be on him. He's out there on his debut, taking out seasoned guys like Junior Albini, the diaper man. That just shows he's here to stay. I got to go in. Rosenstrike getting this shit done. I mean, he's fighting Alan Crowder. I mean, Crowder got knocked out by Big Titty. I mean, Big Pretty. I mean, Big Titty. Excuse my French. Yeah. But, I mean, you get knocked out by Justin Willis, man. A man who's not even on the roster of the UFC right now. Just shows that his chin isn't the best in the game. But Alan Crowder, with all due respect, he's a solid fighter. He's got 5 TKOs on his wins. Got 3 submissions for his wins on his record. He has ways to winning this fight, tiring out the big boy, taking him down, getting the fighter to the ground, same way he did, Greg Hardy. Take a play right out of that same book, tie him up, wrap him out, make the man work, make him exhausted. He should get the W, but I don't see it happening. I gotta go with my boy Rosenstrike getting that shit done by TKO. So we move on to the fight card here. We slide into the women's flyweight. We got Molly McCann. We got a little meatball over here, spaghetti and meatball, taking on the violence queen here, Lipsky, Arian Lipsky. I like Lipsky getting it done here. I mean, we seen Molly McMahon fight her last fight. I mean, she picked up the W, but golly, I mean, come on now. I mean, she picked up the W, but it wasn't the best performance I've ever seen. We seen, the Violence Queen lose to JoJo. So she lost to a solid veteran in women's MMA. She came up short, that was her debut in the UFC. So she could have had the jitters. Now I think she's going to be a little bit more comfortable here fighting in the UFC for a second time. So I think she should get the job done here. So my pick is going to be Lipsky here. Most of Lipsky wins are by submission. I mean TKO. She has 2 submission victories. Very tough fight to call, but yeah, man, I got to go with the Violence Queen getting it done. As we move on to this fight card, we're going to slide back into some middleweight action. Deron Wynn, Eric Spicely. Eric Spicely taking this fight on short notice. He has more experience. solid black belt in jiu-jitsu. Um, hasn't really improved in his striking. Don't know where his conditioning going to be, especially taking this fight on short notice. Deron Wynn doesn't have that much experience, but we know he's training at American Kickboxing Academy, so he has great training partners, one of the best facilities in all of MMA. You got Cain Velasquez, former champ. You got our current heavyweight champ, DC, out of there. You got Habib. I think Deron Wynn is going to be able to pick up the W just for the fact that he's had a full camp. Spice Lee's on a short notice. He doesn't have the best physique. Um, his cardio is questionable, and I think Deron, having that full camp, being able to train and prepare for a full fight, things gonna play a big role in him being victorious. And plus, all those dudes at American Kickboxing Academy could go 10 rounds or more. It's nothing for these dudes. My pick's gonna be Deron Wynn making his debut in the UFC, and he's gonna become a big star. Yes, sir. So the last fight I'm gonna break down is gonna be the first fight. We got Anderson Dos Santos taking on Andre Ewell. Very solid fight. One thing that stands out to me right off the bat is going to be the height and the reach advantage for Ewell going into this fight. These guys are both coming off of losses. Anderson Santos, most of his wins are by submission, so his strong point is the ground game. I know he's going to want to take this fight down to the ground, look for a submission, but to me, he's like a one-dimensional fighter. He really hasn't improved in his striking. He just wants to get the fight down to the ground. Ewell on the other side, he's going to have that reach advantage. He needs to stay out on the outside, use it, stick to a game plan. Most of his wins are by TKO. He has struggled with submissions before. He has 3 submission losses on his record. His takedown defense isn't the best, but he picked up big wins over former champs like Barral. I really like Ewell to pick up the W here. Um, but like I said, I won't be surprised if he gets taken down and subbed. Because Anderson has 11 submission victories on his record, so submission game is pretty much a strong point. But one-dimensional fighters can't last that long in MMA. Because if you're there able to stuff the takedowns and this guy's forced to stand, I mean, he's pretty much going to be in big trouble taking on Ewell here. So my pick is going to be Andre to get the job done. So yeah, those are pretty much my picks for UFC on ESPN 12. So yeah, man, until next time I catch you guys around. There it goes. Yes, sir.